Good morning, everybody. We got Milo, we got We the People, we got Joker Rock, we got Backdrip, we got SF City Legends, we got Jump Shoe, we got Ransom, we got Luis Gonzalez, who misses Mike, we got Top Shot Common Man, we got Fenny, Boston Legend, we got Chewy Wolf, Effet Nico, Fenny Begin, To the House, Roy, Budivane, Airplane Mode, wants some Trumpy, Stachunksta, Mac Attack, Adam, Jericho, Blaze, 90s fan, DJ Local, Justin Lim, who says you should have just hummed the theme song from the first mint instead. Ooh, thank you, Justin. We have Snoopaloop, we have Bravendale, we have Cray Carter, we have Colton Hoos, who says this is not Mike's house. He is correct with that. We have Doc Delta, we have Lucky Plaid, and we have Stan Loves and Ricardo Ruiz. What's on, everybody? Nice to see you all. I hope you all had a wonderful weekend. I had a nice weekend. I was able to meet Pack Drip. We'll talk a little bit about that. Talk a little bit about my encounter with Pack Drip today. That was fun. We met in Boston. And we will talk about some of the drama, I guess, on Twitter, as much as I think some of you probably don't want to talk about it, but I feel like that is the role of the Tandyman, to just let you know what's going on. Some people don't even know what's going on. You should consider yourself the lucky ones. We also were able to see Mike getting down, cutting a rug on Twitter on the stage with one of his favorite music bands, Guster. And I actually thought he was just up there clapping along, and that was it. But then he uploaded a second video, which was really nice. A nice video, high definition. There he is with Kelsey dancing along with the Guster lead singer singing a song about them while their wedding was going on. So how does that feel if you're one of those wedding participants and the bride and the groom just take off without you? So sad. Less creepy background today. That's true. Last time I was in a trailer. It did look like a Dexter kill room. And it would be hilarious yet concerning if Tandy was streaming live from Mike's house. Well, one thing that I was really hoping to do when I was in New York, but it didn't pan out, was I was hoping to actually be able to meet up with Mike. And so the first tier of what I was hoping for was just meet up, have a coffee, have a pizza. But there was this fantasy in my mind that Mike would stream and then he would get up and go to the bathroom, and I would sit down and I would take over the show, and everyone would just be incredibly confused, and we wouldn't talk about it. We wouldn't make it a big deal at all. Or Mike would stream and I would just be sitting on the back of the couch and I would just stream in from my cell phone or something and then take over. Like that, to me, that would be really funny. But he was too busy getting ready for his wedding when he ghosted me and all that, right? So people are not enjoying the stickman position. What's that stickman doing? Kind of looks like he's jumping off the side of that piece of furniture, doesn't it? Blake's just posting some Poke cards on eBay this morning. Got some bangers back from PSA. That's cool. And he wants to hear the AJ takes. I think you mean the AG takes. Hopefully my internet, by the way, is okay. Something wrong in my parents' house with their internet. I keep seeing it dropping a little bit. But yeah, I guess we can jump right into it. I kind of want to use one of Mike's things here. Hold on. Here we go. This just in, you are watching the AG Fallout Live. We are talking about AG and his interactions with Dapper Labs and some of the concerns that the people on Top Shot seem to be having with one AG. People are worried about what this means for their moments in terms of, are they really your moments? And can Coca-Cola stop selling you Coke? We will talk about it today. And we will annoy everybody who has definitely heard way more than they want to about this topic. Yeah, so let's talk about AG a little bit, just a little bit, I promise. So for those who are not aware, AG, he is an early adopter to the NBA Top Shot platform. And I actually interviewed him on Tandy Time. Go and check it out. It's the only appearance that AG has ever made, to my understanding, was on my show on Tandy Time on YouTube. Free to subscribe. So AG was on my show, and AG is a guy. You may have seen him on Twitter. He has a Jay-Z PFP, a young Jay-Z PFP, and he kind of likes to troll a little bit. He likes to kind of push the boundaries of what he can say on Twitter and kind of get under people's skin a little bit. So that's sort of, if you don't know who he is, that's kind of the quick and dirty about who AG is and what he kind of does on Twitter. He's not afraid to say some things that are a little bit outlandish. I think part of it is really just kind of enjoying the reactions that he gets. Although I will say, to play the other side of the coin, is that often AG does say things that many people do agree with. So he does get a little too extreme sometimes, but there's an element of truth often, especially when things are struggling a bit in any NFT project, including NBA Top Shot. He's not afraid to give his takes on anything really. So he is a lot less guarded than most, probably the least guarded person in the community, I would say. And why do people listen to AG? Well, AG, again, he's an early adopter. He got in early. He lives in Vancouver. He was searching for, I think, graphic design jobs or something like that in Vancouver in late 2020. And that is when he found that NBA Top Shot and Dapper Labs were looking to hire something around this in Vancouver, if I remember correctly. If I don't remember correctly, it's because I need to revisit that episode on Tandy Time on YouTube. And so basically he found it. He thought it was super cool. He put a few $100 into it, I think, or maybe got more than that. And he ended up amassing an account worth thousands. And because he was so early, he saw what was going on. He saw the crazy peak. He sold off a lot, and he made a lot of money when the general public entered NBA Top Shot. So that's pretty much the background of like how AG got to where he is in terms of his standing amongst NBA Top Shot. He's an early adopter. He at one point was considered kind of a whale based on how much his account was worth. Since then, I think he sold off a lot. But that's kind of who AG is. So he made a lot of money. He got involved in other NFT projects as well. And he's very, very vocal on Twitter. So it's not uncommon for AG to tweet directly to Dapper employees in the past, definitely towing the line at times. But this time, I guess he crossed the line because he made kind of a sexual reference involving one person who is also on my show in the past, who was a member of the Nine Lives Lounge, Eddie, and Luke El Dumbo. He made kind of like a go do a sexual act to Luke. And then he quickly deleted it, as I understand, but it was enough to get people upset. And it was enough to get him sent an email from the legal counsel, whose name I can't remember right now, but he's also pretty active on Twitter. He was active when we were all talking about the policy stuff. And he got a letter or an email AG received an email that was like, hey, man, this isn't cool. You better cut it out because what you agreed to in the terms of service was that you will not harass employees. And this could be considered harassment. And so and yeah, I know some people don't want to talk about this. DC1 doesn't want to talk about it. But like, I feel like people just have to kind of understand what's going on, and then we can move right past it. So that's what happened. And I think a lot of the argument became, it became this idea of like, well, he received this email that said, do you own your moment? Like, if they can take away your moments or not. They then clarified and said, we can't take away your moments. You can always take your moments off platform. I don't really understand how that would work because how would you ever get liquid again? I guess you can get liquid on other marketplaces, but I can't compare to the official NBA Top Shot one, right? And the other point I also wanted to make. So first of all, if I'm Dapper Labs, I realize that what happened here is that this is now blown out kind of blown out of proportion. I mean, I do think we're on like we're over the hill already. Like I think this is gonna end probably after today and people stop talking about it. But it made a lot of commentary about this over the last couple days, and I think that was kind of unnecessary. I think that if I was someone like Luke or who had been messaged or anything like that, um, you could have done like a group chat with AG and just been like, "Hey, man, like you really you can't do this. This is totally uncool and against the terms of service, and it's just kind of being a dick, and you cross the line, and please don't cross the line again." And then if I'm Dapper Labs employees and I'm getting like added all the time on Top Shot, there's also something that's worth talking about is that Janie made a tweet and said something like mental health matters. And she's referenced something like this in the past as well when she's getting tagged constantly, and people are sort of calling her out. And this was like I think a couple months ago. And it is a lot to take. And a lot of us here in this chat probably don't know what that's like. But I can tell you personally, I was once in a conversation with someone who like wouldn't shut up, and it does kind of drag on you and it gets super annoying. And to me, if I'm Dapper Labs, first of all, I mute AG if I have to, and I block AG if I have to, after having that conversation with him just in a DM to be like, hey man, you're crossing the line. Like, please don't do this again. And that's it, right? Like you're crossing the line because you can't talk about sexual stuff involving Dapper employees. And that's what I would do because the way that they sent the letter is kind of what blew everything up. And then what did I say, by the way? What did I say when we were all chatting? When it was me, Mike, Steve, Packtrip, and Janie, when we were all chatting about the collecting policy, and they were very unfair and they muted the Tandyman. What did I say that day? I said, if things even appear bad, it can create a shitstorm. If it even appears bad. So this, in effect, wasn't actually a massive deal, but it appeared bad and it created a bad conversation all of a sudden on Twitter. And now all of a sudden people are fudding, coming out of the woodwork, coming out with their Board Ape PFPs and their Gutter Cat Gang PFPs and saying like NBA Top Shot's dropping the ball again. Oh my God, NBA Top Shot, you don't really own your NFTs. Like that wouldn't have happened, but just because it appeared bad, this happened. And I think that this is a great precursor in a way of what I was concerned about with the employee collecting stuff is like it doesn't even actually have to be bad. It just has to be a sniff of bad. And that's what happened. The other thing I also want to just mention, and then two more things actually, and then we'll be done with this topic unless you guys still want to talk about it. But first of all, I just want to say that before I had AG on my show, I actually talked with him like an hour the night before because this was AG's first appearance on a show. I think he wasn't really sure what to expect. And he's not a bad guy at all. He's a thoughtful guy. He's actually a friendly guy. It's obvious though that on Twitter he just kind of likes to he likes to ruffle people's feathers for better or sometimes very much for worse. But I will say he's not a bad person. And I also will say that that I hope that the Dapper employees don't completely block him for one reason. Because like I said, when things are not going so peachy in Top Shot land, I think there's people who agree with some of what he says. And I think that you don't want to live in just a positivity bubble that you never hear some of the complaints either. So there should be someone on Dapper that at least is seeing what's going on, a vibes consultant that lets people know without getting tagged constantly what is going on in Twitter. Are people freaking out? Are people tagging Dapper employees out of frustration and anger or whatever? And they can be removed from it, like from a layer from it, but it's still important that they see and hear what's going on. So that's pretty much what I wanted to say. And I also hope that they can mend this relationship because AG, love him or hate him, he is a big character on Top Shot Twitter. And I don't think it's something that they can't move beyond. I think it's literally just have a little chat. Just be like, hey, man, don't cross that line again. You want to make fun of Luke next time, just say that, Eddie's going to go ride on a tandem bicycle with Luke instead of saying something worse. And then we can all just kind of move on and we don't have to create these FUD storms and these bickering Twitter fights, which are really unnecessary. So let's take a look at the chat because I wasn't really looking at it. Blake says Stan Loves isn't lying. Luke, okay. Blake says Lord Tandy. Is that Lord Tandy or is that Lord comma Tandy? You have an incredible Trump, maybe better than Shane Gillis's in that side praise. Thank you. Tandy, what about Luke's tweet that AG referenced? Okay, so I did see that tweet as well. Yeah, I mean, I don't know. That's a good question. Like if AG said something like, Luke, I'm going to take your mother out, would that be harassment? I don't know. Something definitely does tell me that that like the people that wanted AG to shut up were probably like, let's just wait a little longer before he says something bad and we'll tell him to shut up. And maybe that could have be considered the same thing. But it's a tough one, man. If people are going to be sensitive or, justly or unjustly or whatever you want to say, if people are going to be a little sensitive about being called out, you have to have a thick skin. One thing I will say about Luke El Dumbo is he has thick skin and he's willing to joke, make jokes and take jokes constantly. And that's something about El Dumbo, about Luke. So I think that when Luke made whatever that screenshotted comment is, he probably received something around the same level previously. So I don't know. I think it's silly to just get stuck in this stuff. Like, it's Twitter. If something really bothers you, just mute that person. But like I said, when it comes to a platform where you are relying on the transparent communication and opinions of your community, you can't completely mute or block someone because you still have to understand what's going on out there. But if you're an individual like me or like you or like Luke for that matter, if it's not his job to know like what the vibes are on Twitter, then just mute the person and move on. That's what I feel. And I've done it myself. So let's see what else we got. So I'm backing the wrong horse. I mean, I'm not really backing either horse, honestly. I'm not saying AG is totally in the right. All I'm saying is I did have a conversation with him previously, and I kind of know who he is in a way, probably better than most who are just reading Twitter. Harassing people on Twitter kind of makes him a bad person. Your one conversation with him isn't a proxy for his character. Okay, that's fair. I'm just saying, in my experience, he's not a bad dude. He obviously comes across as a bad dude on Twitter. I will give you that. But I think in person, probably I think a lot of people can take on a character on Twitter that's different from who they are in real life. But I mean, this is kind of a conversation for another day. So Blake is right. Where Tandy is, you need to have vocal critics. Yep, he does go too far sometimes. Exactly. Dapper needs a designated fall guy, like athletes, or an insult bodyguard. Yeah. AG can make it right by squashing it. What he said set the ball rolling. Yes. And I do believe they can squash it pretty easily. Roham said the GMs of each product are the director of community vibes with Judge, Dead, GIF, I am the law. That was cringe. Yeah, okay, I think I know what you're talking about. I think that's a little off as well. Although we do see that Janie lives on Twitter. So I do think she knows what the vibes are. All right, so what else we got here? This makes me laugh and kind of feel bad for everyone. Being a bad person isn't the issue. He did something wrong. End of discussion. And can't validate what he said. He has to own the consequence. Yeah, listen, I think all this is fair. I do think he kind of has to own crossing the line, whatever that means. I just don't think it should mean what some people thought it to mean, which they then had to correct after the fact about like, oh, do you really own your moments, etc. I think that was kind of unfortunate. And he did. He received a warning, but we live in the reactionary Top Shot Twitter where a warning can be digested as something much worse than a warning. And like if you read the terms of service as well, there's all kinds of legal language. It's the same way when you go on like a zip line and you sign off your life basically. It's like that's just it doesn't mean those things are going to happen. It doesn't mean that the language is kind of, in my opinion, like a little bit loose, and you have people like Dream Shaker reading the language who is a lawyer and getting kind of upset about it. But I think like just act like a normal person and this stuff won't happen. And if you're going to insult someone and cross the line, and hopefully you and that person can talk it over and get through it, right? Like man to man, I just feel like they can get through this stuff. All right. I think there's some Judge Dredd jokes in here that I'm not very much aware of. I have never seen that movie. All right. So should we move on then from the AG stuff? I think we should. I think people have read enough about AG on Twitter. Um, some of you Some of you probably want to move on. We the people don't lose sleep over a random dude's opinions and rants. This is why I never look through Top Shot Twitter. And that's probably a good idea, we the people. I will say that over the last couple weeks, I've been on the road so much, traveling with my family, just kind of schlepping from place to place and seeing friends that I can't check in as much on Twitter. And I would tell you that it is probably beneficial to your mental health. I think that Twitter in general, I remember back in like the days a few years ago, Twitter was known for doom scrolling. You would get on Twitter and you would just scroll and get upset. And I feel like that still kind of is the way things go on Twitter. Twitter is all about like things that cause sometimes fear or cause controversy, because things that cause controversy are the things that blow up on Twitter. It's what creates the super pros versus the super cons, and everything just blows up. Um, controversy works. Uh, and I know a thing or two about controversy. So that's what happens with controversy. It works. On Instagram, it's like showing your best life that isn't even real. That's what works on Instagram. On Facebook, it's what is Facebook? I don't know. Does anybody use Facebook anymore? On Snapchat, it's taking pictures of your privates. I don't know. I don't use Snapchat either, but TikTok's fun. I feel like TikTok's probably the most fun social media right now, but there's no better social media for sharing opinions quickly, in my opinion, than Twitter, unfortunately. So, because sometimes you're doom scrolling, and you just kind of feel bad from that. All right, what else can we talk about? Yesterday, we saw that Packrip Ewing teased the junior skyhook. So I think this is something that we knew about. Did I lock anything? I did. I locked a bunch of Celtics playoff moments, and I was going to lock my most overpaid for Jason Tatum S2 MG Lee if it would put me in the top 750, and it won't. So, uh, so now I'm not sure what I'm going to do, honestly. Even if I lock something I spent way too much money on, it's not going to do anything for me. When I find out more about locking sets, which I own a couple of, then I will probably lock that. Chewy, there's way more positive things going on that should overpower the negative bullshit, but one bad thing wipes the positive slate clean. Exactly. And again, this is what I was talking about on that stream with Mike and Steve and Janie and Packrip. That's how Twitter works. One bad thing wipes out the positivity. So why do we want to enter those potentially murky waters, right? The positive events need more spotlight. Okay. So you locked some Celtics. Exactly. I locked some Celtics, but I'm not in the top 750. And I don't really think I see the value now of going and spending a bunch of money to get in there. So Shepard, do you have the team checklist done? I do have the S3. I don't have the S2. So maybe I will see what it costs me to do the S2 and how much that will add to my score and consider. So as I was saying, a couple things did happen last week that we haven't talked about. We opened with AG, but we can talk a little bit about things like office hours, which I got some notes from. I didn't actually get to listen to it. But we also can talk about the Magic Johnson teaser. So yesterday was Magic Johnson's birthday. Interestingly enough, yesterday was also my son's birthday. He turned 5. I did not know that he shared a birthday with Magic Johnson. But Packrip shared a legendary Magic Johnson skyhook, which all but guarantees that we will be getting an 86-87 historical set on NBA Top Shot in September. So I think that's cool. I think it's different. One thing, though, which our buddy Mike Zakarian did mention, thank you, a happy birthday to Tandy Jr. We did have a great day. We went to the Boston Aquarium yesterday. It was fun. One thing that Mike Zakarian mentioned before, I believe, I hope I'm not misquoting him, but he said something about the rollout of the Magic Johnson release was so unique and so cool that he hopes that when this 86-87 set comes out, we don't see things like Larry Bird just get thrown into the set with no hoopla. And I would have to agree with that. Although I don't know how that exactly will work. Because if you're going to release a legendary set, let's say, or a legendary pack drop, I mean, I'm guessing it's going to be loot box style mixed packs like it was before, where you'll pay them an amount, you'll get some rares, maybe there'll be commons this time, but not Magic Johnson commons, right? And there will also be some rare and legendaries of other players from that season. I am just hopeful that, like I said, we don't see big name players just get thrown in, because I think that takes a lot away from the spectacle of having these players join NBA Top Shot officially. So if it's Kareem Abdul-Jabbar, if it's Larry Bird, if it's Dominique Wilkins, if it's any of these players, right? And it probably is not going to be Michael Jordan, but if it's any of these players, you would hope that they have, at the very least, like a few days dedicated to them or something. I don't know how they're going to do this, if they're going to not release just one player on one day like they did with Magic Johnson, but that was very special. And I think that if you're going to have players from a similar level, I'd say your Larry Birds, your Abdul-Jabbars, your Dominique Wilkins, perhaps, then yeah, give them their shine. I hope that's something that happens. So that's true. 5 is this many fingers. You are correct, Chewy. Thank you. So that's my take on that one. Let's see what else we got. We have a little bit of info about the mobile app that came out of office hours. So let's just see if that's working. Yep, that's working. My DMs are not being shared today. That's good. So here's what we got. The mobile app in development, and we are targeting the end of 2022 as a deadline to deliver the NBA Top Shot mobile app. We are targeting Christmas for release. So Santa Claus is going to be bringing your mobile app to you. And there's my good friend Relax saying, hell yeah. And Jimbo, who hit that nasty shot the other day to potentially win a LeBron. Oh, look, that was impressive, Jimbo. So yeah, it looks like we're going to have our mobile app before Christmas or on Christmas. And I think that's exciting. I think that this should ideally open up NBA Top Shot to a wider audience. It's something that we've talked about for a very long time. Mobile apps can rise up in that App Store ranking and can get a whole lot of new eyeballs on something. I do hope, though, that it's more than just purely what the website is. Maybe that's hoping a little bit too much, but hopefully at the very least, it gives you some cool way to show off your moments. I know that's what a lot of people have been asking for. And all we can hope as well is that it just gets more people involved on NBA Top Shot. All right, so let's see here. We're going to go look over the notes real quick, and we can share some commentary, say how we feel about some of the things we've learned about office hours. So let's bring that up. Here is the office hours blog. Okay, let's check it out. Office hours. When will the Series 4 roadmap be available? So it's still many weeks away. It'll definitely be shared, though, in advance of the NBA season. We're still going through the process now, working with our partners, aka the NBA, and internal teams, aka the people that manage supply and such, to get everything finalized. What should we expect between now and then? So for starters, the Series 4 roadmap is not going to look like the Series 3 roadmap. I think that what that is mostly talking about is right here, the net neutral circulating supply. For every moment we add, one will be removed from circulation via crafting, locker room, and locked for leaderboard. So this note right here, locked for leaderboards, created a little bit of an uproar on Twitter as well. So let's just see if I missed anything here. So Packtrip wants it for Hanukkah. I agree. decisions on live trading. Why not? They do it on Dr. Seuss. Tandy time. Hello, my friend. And yeah, there were some leaderboard locking questions going on, which was like, is that truly net neutral or net negative? And I would agree that it's not. Because once those things are unlocked, then what? Are you now going to somehow burn the equivalent of all those moments when they're unlocked? Right? It doesn't really make any sense to me. Um, the crafting in the locker room makes sense to me. The leaderboard, the locking doesn't. And they did talk about this though. I can see if I can try to find that tweet. But I think the big idea here is that they said like, trust us, this is going to get super net neutral, net negative. Like that's where we're going. It's not necessarily, maybe it's not necessarily like a 1-to-1. It's just kind of a vague like goal, and they're just going to make sure that everything is way lower circulation and way lower amounts of packs being released. That's kind of what I take from it. I don't think that they're going to like see how many people lock a moment and then be like, all right, well, now we can release a bunch more packs. That's just my take on it. I do think we probably need a little bit more clarity than we currently have, though. Someone asked for the beta drop. Well, lucky you. It's one. Oh, geez, did I lose it? Hold on. I think I lost it. Hold on. Wait. No, here it is. Here it is. No, I did lose it. Sorry. I don't have beta. I do have Roham, though.
Rohan.
All right. So yeah, that talking about the net neutral type of deal. All right. So the big picture will be shared in October. Okay. Will there be any new NBA drops before the Series 4 roadmap? Yes, at least one NBA drop. That's a historic NBA drop. So that, of course, is the 86-87. It's one of their best drops to date, as they are saying. And a lot of new Top Shot debuts, a lot of 86-87 players. When can we expect player leaderboards and what kind of perks? Every player will have a leaderboard, but not every player will have perks. That kind of makes sense. I think it could be kind of random too. Like it could be if players want to get involved in rewarding their fans. I saw something recently on NFL All Day, which was that Richard Sherman sent like coupons to his website for anybody that owned his All Day moment, which I thought was kind of interesting. Okay, let's see. Okay, let's keep going here. Can you provide an update on auto updates to Top Shot score? It's in progress. Okay. Your score will never be penalized for locking. Okay. Future plans to make potential prizes like the All-Star 1-of-1s more accessible. No plans. That was a special occasion for the 75th anniversary. And in general, we want to be more explicit about what rewards will be and how you can earn them, and want to be more inclusive about giving more people the opportunity to collect something special. So I don't really know what to take from that one, but are some of you concerned about this, or some of you want these 1-of-1 NFTs? Like, I think to make them more accessible kind of takes away what a 1-of-1 NFT is supposed to be. Can't be a 1-of-1 NFT and be more accessible. So it's one or the other. Will there be an announcement of when the date and time of the snapshot of this top 750 will occur? Give us until the end of August to provide updates on this. The snapshot will be on or before October 1st, but we're still exploring some of the mechanics around the final delivery of the reward. We anticipate the delivery of the reward will happen after the snapshot, not concurrently with the reward. Okay, that makes sense. It will not necessarily operate with the same mystery or rules as the remaining rewards. Okay, I don't really know what to take from that, but I think at the very least, we know that the first top 750 are getting that duo Top Shot debut moment. And if I had to guess, I would say after that, it's going to become more and more scarce as they want people to buy more and more moments of those teams. So we'll probably see 750, 500, 250, 100, 50, 25, 10, 1. Why not? I mean, that this is what will create a whole lot of buying activity, a whole lot of competition. It's kind of the nature of competitive collecting, which we saw in the previous collector score. Um, so I don't know how you feel about that if you were paying attention to what happened with collector score, but that does seem to be the way that it's going to go. Are there any upcoming reveals for big time player partnerships or collabs with NBA Top Shot? They're doing it, but you'll hear updates when it's time. So I actually wonder if this has to do with what I was talking about earlier, which was the historical stuff. I wonder if if we might see like, I don't know, a few days of hype for like three major players from the 86-87 season with maybe a Twitter Spaces, with maybe a blog, and maybe that's what they're talking about if I had to imagine. And there's probably things that are going to happen later on in the year that they're also already working on. Do you envision that team leaderboards will be used as a criteria or metric for future IRL experiences? In the long term, they do expect it to serve as a way of determining winners. We want to ensure we can add WNBA and NBA favorite team selection and cooldowns to prevent people from switching their favorite teams all the time. So this is actually another thing which I know people have talked about in the past, which I have to agree. So you can't penalize people that either got in early or decide to spend a lot of money because they want to get into the top 750. Like, you can't penalize that kind of thing. However, I do believe that there should be a way to reward people whose favorite team is truly their favorite team. So maybe there's a multiplier effect. You know, we all love Alexo, but Alexo is not the top fan of every team that he's in number one on. He is a big fan of the Trailblazers, right? So he deserves to have a 1.5 multiplier on the Trailblazers, and the other teams he doesn't. Would that even make a difference? Probably not, because I think the people that are below those early adopter whales are probably way below those early adopter whales. However, in the top 750, top 500, top 1000, whatever you want to call it, I think it would make a difference. And I think that people should be able to um, get a multiplier when collect their favorite team, basically. I don't know how you guys feel about that one. So let's see what else we got here. How have NBA teams reacted to the team leaderboards? Some have adopted quicker than others, but we have long-term ambitious plans for the next 5 to 10 years. In the short term, it's unrealistic to expect us to deliver the same level of fandom experience for all 30 fan bases, but leadership rewards as NFTs will have as much parity as possible. Okay, so that makes sense. The NFTs, obviously, they control. So the NFTs are going to be the same um, across every team in terms of how valuable they are to you, the collector. The IRL stuff, though, no, because they can probably get some teams to show out more than other teams because it's literally a different relationship for all 30 teams, which that's just the way it is. But I see what they're saying, which is in 5 to 10 years, ideally, if this project continues to grow, then more and more NBA teams will want to be more closely attached to it. Has any internal talks about another edition of gift back or market fee return? So we actually have a tweet around this. Like, StreamYard's kind of hard to share multiple things here at the same time. But let me see. I'm trying to find that tweet. Let me try to find it. Okay, I found the tweet. So yeah, it looks here that gift back is not coming back. There was a tweet. So Janie shared on Discord, and this is what she wrote: rake back for VIP as part of their program. Rake back outside of that, probably not, since our $13 million that we dumped in December into the community wallets mostly went unused, parentheses, dormant accounts, or withdrawn, not used back into the economy. I don't know how I felt about that one, actually, because I think that a lot of people who got like a significant amount of gift back, you have to remember what the temperature was like on NBA Top Shot at this time. The temperature was pretty cool in a bad way, if I remember correctly. I know that there was some excitement. I think it was in the summer. Things were trending a bit up in anticipation of that rake back. And then when it hit, I remember things started dropping. But I will say this. A lot of the people that received that rake back were very much underwater on their Top Shot accounts at that point. So it's asking a lot, in my opinion, for someone who feels this emotional drain and financial drain on a product to then be given a few hundred or thousand or however much money and then be expected to spend it all right back into the marketplace. That to me is kind of it doesn't align. I think a lot of people, especially like the Bored Ape PFP types and everyone else in that of that matter, were probably like, okay, finally, like I can get out now. Things have pumped because of the anticipation of the rakeback. So this was like a year ago. Things have pumped because of the anticipation of the rakeback. I now have my rakeback. Now I can wash this rakeback and get it off this platform. I can sell my moments that have now pumped because of the rakeback. And that's what they did. And I just think like so much of this space is sentiment and hype. And I don't think you can hold it against people for doing that. I don't know if that's a reason to not give back. I think if you give back to people, like someone is saying here, the active users. So Brent is saying, why not give the money? Why not give rake back to active users? Right. I think if they could filter out who is dormant and who is active, then people would spend the rake back. I mean, I receive rake back. I've never taken money off NBA Top Shot. Um, I have some sitting in Dapper. It's possible that if I got rake back today, I might have it sitting in Dapper, but that doesn't mean I'm not going to later spend it. And you can easily tell who those active users are and who they are not. So anyway, right now it seems like they're not looking toward that as something that they want to do. But I believe that this is also in large part because they have big plans of spending money in other ways. We can debate what we think is the better way to spend money, but right now we see that they are doubling down on the community captain stuff, the team captain stuff. And we know that they've alluded to marketing campaigns, big marketing campaigns in 2022. So, in my opinion, that almost would be a better answer instead of being like, oh, but we gave you money and you didn't use it or you withdrew it. Because again, that is something where a lot of people felt a certain type of way when they got that money back. Like they were kind of a lot of people at that time sort of wanted to get out, and so they got out. And I don't know if you can hold that against people, but that's just the way it is. So, but Andrew said, but rakeback wasn't meant to be an off ramp. Well, it doesn't matter what it was meant to be. That's what it was. You're right that it wasn't supposed to be an off ramp. It was supposed to encourage people to buy more moments, but you can't make people buy more moments. They're going to do it if they want to. All right. Let's see. Let's put rakeback aside. Why not make a promotion like all day? Spend 50, get 50 credit. Why not? I agree with you. Why not? They should do it. Chewy says Top Shot has done gated awards allow list based on active thresholds. Why did they give money to dormant accounts? And if still dormant after a year, why leave it? Funds can be pulled, moved. Mine has. What do you mean yours have? Your funds were pulled, Chewy? I sincerely hope not. You know what though? It might be a legal thing. It might be like, you either give it to everyone or no one. I don't know. Let's see. Zach says Top Shot is great for the drama, but all day is where it's at right now. Big things happening with kickoff soon. Best hope for Top Shot is all day getting new users, then joining Top Shot in NFL all off season. Perhaps. And yeah, a deposit bonus would be great. I agree. Let's see. Percent wise, rakeback was not that huge. And right after they released loot packs, it killed sentiment. That is true. I mean, there's a lot of different variables at stake. It's not just so simple, is it? It's not just like, oh, it didn't work. It didn't work because of this reason, because the dormant accounts didn't buy stuff. There are many different things happening. And Ryan just says, Tandy. All right, so let's see where we're at here. Are we almost done with this office hours? Let's try to work through these quickly because we're getting, I can't believe we're at 45 minutes already. When it comes to average sales price in relation to top shot score, when should we, okay, whatever. When it comes to Series 1 moments being released in locker packs, when should we expect them to be fully distributed? Well, blah, blah, blah. The first batch will have 2,000 Series 1 moments in it. That doesn't really tell me. I believe that Colton actually shared a tweet, which was like, it's going to be something like 2 million moments that will hold the entirety of the S1 moments. Um, yeah, I don't know. Colton, you can clear that up in the chat. It looks like there's over 5.2 million moments in the locker room. Any plans to burn them? No, basically. Will there ever be a scenario where the number of moments coming into the locker rooms are equal to or equal to the number coming out? Well, first of all, I don't really understand why you would want this to happen. I mean, you want deflationary measures, not the opposite. But they said that they might test something like that in the future. Set locking, is we make that easier? Yes, of course, they're going to make it easier. Can you provide updates on the employee play mobile app and in arena? So we already know about the mobile app. The employee play is going to be revisited. Again, you guys know how I feel about the muddy waters and what we've seen in the last weekend about those muddy waters. We don't like muddy waters. We like clear waters, don't we? And the kiosks. So this is something that I thought I saw Janie mention in previously, where she said she expected to do some kiosk marketing in 2022. So from this, we see we did the first kiosk at the Summer League in 2021. We learned a lot. Ultimately, the experience we tested was too time consuming for an in-arena experience. It's not ready for a smooth first-time user experience, and also would require deals with the NBA's 30 teams in arenas to execute at scale. I don't understand that. Why can't we do it with a few arenas? The appeal of a kiosk from our point of view is an exclusive moment from an event that you attended, and we will be able to execute that concept and deliver unique moments tied to events you attend without an IRL kiosk at the game. All right, so here's how I feel about that one. I strangely feel like more emotional about that one, which is just like, to me, the kiosk was more about, holy shit, that's a cool looking thing. Beyond like the functionality, or beyond the volunteers standing around with iPads, to me the kiosk was like jaw-droppingly cool, and that was why um it was like a showstopper. You couldn't take your eyes off it. This massive screen, you could see people ripping packs on this massive screen. I just thought, for me, that was what made it so cool. And so I hope that they revisit that idea. Like, obviously, we know that they know how to give you moments based on an event that you attended. We're seeing it right now with the tour and stuff like that. So maybe they put QR codes on tickets or on a jumbotron or something like that, and you have a 1 minute to scan it. Even though I'm sure that'll be something that people can take advantage of. So I don't know how you guys feel about that, but I am a little disheartened if there's going to be no kiosks in 2022 for the reasons that I said. I just think it's super cool looking. Imagine you go to a card show and all these dudes have their tables out, and their tiny little uh, postcards and advertising materials. And then all of a sudden, in the corner of the room is this massive glowing purple NBA Top Shot kiosk with huge screens and people ripping packs live. It's that marketing factor of like, holy shit, it's that remarkable factor. There's once a story that I read, or a book I read, by Seth Godin, who's like a brilliant marketing mind. And he was the name of the book was called The Purple Cow Theory. And the idea of this is, if you're driving on a road trip with your family and you see a cow by the side of the road, you might tell your kid to go check out the cow by the side of the road. But if you're driving and you see a purple cow on the side of the road, everyone is going to be staring at that purple cow and they're being like, holy crap, that's a purple cow, right? It's like remarkable, it's different, it's incredible. And to me, getting a moment at a game based on a QR code, on a ticket, or whatever is kind of like the regular cow. Getting a moment and seeing this massive glowing kiosk with a massive screen on it, that to me is purple cow. And if you have millions to spend on marketing in 2022, I say you go for the purple cow. Purple cows make purple milk, as far as I know. Yes. No one wants to work in a mall. Kiosk with a Sour Patch Kids for trade tickets is a win. Why not? Lean into the joke. Get cigars as well. Sour Patch Kids and cigars. Need a kiosk in every game in every arena. So that's the thing. I don't think that's going to happen based on what we heard from Janie. Not every arena, because as we know, it's 30 different agreements. And obviously, for some reason, that is difficult to do. So we shouldn't expect that. I think if we expect a few events, maybe it's the All-Star game, maybe it's opening night, maybe it's like Christmas Day. If we could do something like that, to me, that's almost enough. If we have to make a compromise, right? Make a smaller kiosk, or like a little handheld one. We can just kind of put it on our palm and just scan the kiosk. No, I think it has to be big. It has to be big. Let's see. Did I miss anything? Clean up what? Anything about WNBA captains? I think it's coming. I don't think they said anything like that. We only have 46 likes. Get those likes up for Team Hold. And subscribe to Tandy Time on YouTube. So let's see. What do we miss here? We didn't talk much about. Well, I did meet Pack Drip, and you saw that all on Twitter. That was a lot of fun. It's fun to go meet people from the community. That was great. We hung out. We ate some pizza. We had a good time. We took a bunch of photos doing the new and improved Jacob pose. It's a bit of a yoga pose. It's a yoga pose. Like the original Jacob pose was like this. It was kind of like holding the tips of your fingers. We have now improved it to become a bit of like a high five yoga. So there you go. That was a great time. Had some good pizza in Harvard Square. That was fun. So we love the community.
We love the community.
So yeah, Noam, we hung out in Harvard Square, right near Harvard University. And then we took those pictures along the Charles River, the Charles. So let's see what else did we miss here. So Mike got married. You guys all saw him. That was pretty damn cool, I must say. Like, I know I talked about that in the beginning, but wow, he got to be on the stage with like his favorite band. Imagine that. I don't know if it's his favorite. I'm just imagining it's his favorite because he's like a middle-aged white person. They seem to like Guster. So I don't know. No Farmer Carl. That's true. I bet we'll get some on the honeymoon, though. I bet we'll get some on the honeymoon. So we're almost at time. Does anyone have anything else to say here? I'm going to just look because I wasn't looking at these comments while I was reading. Let's just see. How many active users do you think Top Shot needs? Not number of accounts, but active users daily. I wonder what now. Probably just a few thousand. It would be nice to 10x that. SF City is saying all day community is brand new and completely fragmented. Beamer, the team captains thing is a miss for me. I'm tired of constantly checking Discords. I will say that the way that team captain Discords don't have their own notifications for certain types of posts is a little bit annoying. Like it is annoying to have to click through all the Discords and scroll and like see if there's something that you didn't want to miss in there, like an announcement or a giveaway or something like that. I do agree that that's not great. Does the FBI need to raid Janie's house for alpha on behalf of the archive set holders? Well, I'll tell you one thing, Boudvan. I think that idea is really unfair. And I think if you know what happened to me recently, it's unfair. And I do agree, though, that they should focus on somebody else. They should focus on someone who has alpha on the archive set, and just get away from my beautiful Mar-a-Lago residence, because nothing I did was wrong. Not to say that Janie is a criminal. That's just Trumpy saying that, not me. Don't cancel me. Cancel Trumpy. Tandy, how about a Top Shot kiosk in the NBA store in NYC? Exactly. Why not? You absolutely should do it. Does Mike own a Guster NFT that got him that IRL utility? I don't think he did, which definitely hurts the value of Guster NFTs. Blake just tagged me in a tweet. Check it out. Blake, we'll try to do this live here. Okay, so Blake tagged me in an ESPN thing that was presented by NFL all day. So let's see. Can we share that? Let's see. Let's try to do this. I wish this was easier to do in StreamYard. Here. So there you go. There's an NFL all day sponsorship on the morning football show on ESPN, apparently. So there you go. When marketing. Let's see what else we got here. Do you think Top Shot ever specifically defines net neutrality, or they keep it vague to allow over minting and the control of price? That's a good question. I think it's moving around so much at the moment, isn't it? Like, it's related to things that are constantly moving. How many moments are being locked? How many moments are going into the locker room? How many moments are being crafted? So it's not like you have a deadline to do these activities and then they know how much they have and they can behave accordingly. So I don't know if it's intentionally like that or not. Chewy's saying we do pin messages and create threads, as well as have the mods ping the channel when necessary for, okay. So I don't think all Discord channels are doing that, but that's cool. Not financial advice. Did I give financial advice just now? I don't know. Can we discuss Mike's dance moves? Sure. What do you want to say? I thought he did okay. You know, it was the white guy move. You know, it's the clapping and kind of sashaying a little bit side to side, the white guy clap. I mean, if Mike started doing like the Carlton dance like this, you know, that would have like broke the internet and that would have been amazing. But, you know, maybe that was expecting a little too much. So Blake, whose blue circles are those? I'm not sure what that means. That must have been on that Twitter thing. But listen, guys, I think that we have actually one special guest. We are at about time. But I believe we do have time for one guest. So we have Mike Weisberg, who wants to add in his opinion on the AG stuff. So Mike, tell us, what are you thinking in terms of what's going on with AG?
First, Tandy, thanks for having me.
All right, everybody, that'll do it for me. That'll do it for Mike Weisberg. Wonderful guest, I must say. And we will see you all tomorrow. I believe we're probably, who was the next day? I can't remember if it was Jeb. I think it's Jeb. So Jeb, we'll see you tomorrow, and thank you all, and have a great rest of your day. And I think Mike is back next week. So there you go.
Well, the Top Shot streets are dangerous.